Notre Dame's 2026 season is a bear trap waiting to go off. Their season is not what it reads on paper, America. If you are asking, so what, Rico? Well, there is a lot of what, with huge implications. For starters, they can potentially lose 3 games and still make the playoffs due to their handcrafted top 12 playoff exemption rule, especially if come November their schedule reads different. But we will cover all of that and more, so sit back, pour yourself a cocktail, and stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. I am Rico Swavae, and today we need to have a real serious discussion on the Notre Dame 2026 season. I see the forums, I hear the fans, and every other sports pundit, but plain and simple, it is too easy to just say Notre Dame has a cupcake powder puff schedule and call it a day. I mean, we do that, myself included, even when the schedule is daunting. Why? Because they are Notre Dame, and Notre Dame hate is what makes up the fabric that is college football. And because of that, you either love thy golden lady perched up top on that golden dome, or you despise her pompous, arrogant glaze on us college football peasants from her pedestal. The talking heads are missing some key details. This 2026 Notre Dame season is going to be more difficult than you all think. Just because the schedule does not read a matchup against USC or Michigan doesn't mean it is a cupcake cakewalk in Cake Town. Far from it. It's the on-paper easy trap. You look at a schedule, you see names, and you think they should beat every single one of them. And then insert your hot takes on how they handpick such an easy schedule year after year with no remorse. The reality is they're facing a 10-game Power 4 gauntlet where every single opponent is treating Notre Dame as their Super Bowl, not to mention huge potentials for some of the upset. Do you remember 2024? Everyone thought Northern Illinois was a homecoming game, and the Irish walked out of South Bend with a 16-14 loss that is still haunting them to this day. I mean, the jokes are still rolling in. But that is not what we are talking about per se. See, it is far more complicated than a trap game scenario, a one-off we were asleep at the wheel and wake up in a ditch in Mishawaka. The moral of the story is, you cannot afford to overlook a team just because of the name on the helmet, especially in this current college football landscape of money printing machines, that is NIL, and the transfer portal, unless your name is Dabo Sweeney. Teams like SMU and Texas Tech now have the ability to make a run, a sort of leveling of the playing field that the general consensus has not caught up to yet. Now, don't get me wrong. We do see the occasional underdog in the playoffs getting absolutely dog-walked. But this is because we are still in the infancy of this process, the wild, wild west, if you will. So we will begin going over the potential traps, or sleepers, as I would like to call them, because I feel that they will be more than a one-off game and a bigger threat to the collective college football landscape. This minefield starts day 1 on September 6th at Lambeau Field against Wisconsin. Now, some fans look at a neutral site and relax, but you have to understand that pressure cooker in that Badgers locker room. Their head coach is sitting on one of the hottest seats in the country, and there is a very real sense that if he doesn't turn it around this year, it's his last season in Madison. When a coach is fighting for his professional life, you're not just playing a team, you're playing a cornered animal who will be swinging for the fences, especially when on display for the nation to see week 1 at Lambeau Field. This game will set the tone for Luke Fickell's season and potential career. Wisconsin has the elite talent to make this a nightmare. You've got Hunter Simmons at quarterback, who finally looks like the leader they need. And Eugene Hilton Jr. at wide receiver, yes, T.Y.'s son, who is a constant threat to take the top off a defense. On the ground, Darion Dupree is a physical back who fits that classic bruising Wisconsin identity. So even if the Badgers go down like a close brawl in a dark alley, they have the potential to be a 2-loss team by the end of the season when looking at their schedule. Moving to October 17th at BYU. This isn't just a road game, it's a revenge mission, because BYU fans still feel like Notre Dame dodged them in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You can't forget that the Cougars are coming off an 11-win season in 2025, where they tied for the Big 12 lead and still got snubbed by the playoff committee. They are playing with a massive chip on their shoulder, and they have the elite talent to back it up. You've got Bear Bachmeier at QB, who is a dual-threat nightmare, and L.J. Martin at running back, who can consistently move the chains. When you go into Provo at night against a veteran defense led by Isaiah Glasker, that easy road win suddenly starts looking like a mountain climb. And by the looks of it, the Mormons seem like they will be knocking on doors all the way to the playoffs. So don't be surprised if you see them playing well into January this season. We will also see SMU going toe-to-toe with the Irish on November 21st. Everyone seems to be overlooking the Mustangs just because they're the new guys in the Power Four. But you have to look at their 2026 path. They play UC Davis, a veterinary school, Missouri State, and middle-tier ACC schools early on, making an undefeated run into late November highly plausible. Make no mistake, this isn't a fluke program. They were right there in the college football playoff in 2024 and played for the ACC title that very same year. Their roster is legit. They've got Ty Hawkins under center and Derek McFall in the backfield. On the defensive side, Deuce Harmon is currently one of the highest-rated corners in the country. They have the high-powered offense to absolutely crash the playoff party if not taken seriously this season. You look at October 3rd at North Carolina. You absolutely cannot ignore the Bill Belichick factor now that it's year 2 for him. We've seen exactly what happens when elite defensive minds get time to build. Belichick has already secured a top 15 recruiting class, ranked number 14 nationally, and is aggressively using the portal to build a pro-style defense specifically designed to shut down heavy-run teams like the Irish. Sandwiched right between Purdue and Stanford, this road game against the greatest defensive mind in football history is the absolute definition of a trap game, but also a potential threat to every other school looking past North Carolina this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they played spoiler at least once this upcoming season. Look at that Syracuse matchup. That is the Steve Angeli game. It's easy to forget that even with an Achilles tear that limited him to less than 4 games last year, he still finished the season as their leading passer. The reality is that the Orange only fell apart last season because he went down right after they pulled off that massive upset over Clemson. Now that he's healthy, Syracuse is a completely different animal than what the easy schedule crowd is expecting, and have the potential to have a great bounce-back season, too. Another team that could end the season ranked a lot higher than anticipated. Finally, you have to look at Boston College on November 21st. This game is tucked into the schedule right after the high-stakes Miami matchup, which creates the perfect hangover scenario. If Miami and Notre Dame are both undefeated on November 7th, that game is going to be an emotional volcano, a modern-day Catholics versus convicts for the ages. And that plays right into the hands of an Eagles team that loves nothing more than playing spoiler. History is a cruel teacher here, and we have to remember that Boston College is much more than a simple trap team. They are a program with a documented history of robbing Notre Dame of national championships. You only have to look back to 1993, when the Irish were ranked number 1 and fresh off an emotional win over number 2 Florida State, only to have the Eagles swoop into South Bend to steal their title run with a 41-39 stunner. This is not just ancient history either. Just last season in 2025, Boston College pushed the Irish to the absolute brink in a 25-10 slugfest. Given that rivalry history and how tough they played them recently, this game is a massive threat to any playoff ambitions. Now, I'm not suggesting the Eagles are necessarily going to be playoff contenders themselves. Their own 2026 schedule is likely too tough for that. But they are definitely not the dead bird we saw during their 2-10 disaster in 2025. There is a new sense of stability in Chestnut Hill, with head coach Bill O'Brien entering his 2nd full season. Even during that rough stretch last year, they showed grit by snapping a 10-game losing streak with a season-ending victory over Syracuse. Plus, the school is doubling down on the program, announcing a long-term commitment to O'Brien and a significant increase in financial resources. With that, and the established core they are bringing back at both quarterback and running back, you will certainly see a much higher floor than last year, who is more than capable of being a decent, dangerous team that can catch a playoff hopeful Irish. So there you have it, America. Notre Dame's 2026 path isn't just an easy schedule. It's a chaotic minefield of teams that have the potential to be a lot more competitive than what my peers are pushing as factual. And realistically, if I am wrong, which I am never wrong, the pompous Irish will still have their special handmade top 12 exemption rule to lean on to make it into their playoff party. Either way, a win-win scenario. This is Rico Swavae from the College Pigskin Hour, reporting live from our studio in Barstow, California. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night.